Before we get started, a moment of silence for my HP Pavilion, who, due to receiving an infection earlier this past year and then slowly dying because of that infection, left me unable to watch Yu-Gi-Oh! For these past 3 months, I think. And because of this, I couldn't really do the updates, and due to my low income, was unable to replace the computer until just recently. It is in your memory, we pray. Okay, now that that's over with, let's talk about the most important thing there is to talk about. The return of card games on motorcycles, baby! Cue title scene. So, first up, let's get some things straight. I will be doing these weekly again, and I will include just general talk for stuff about the TCG, as I am a big Yu-Gi-Oh! Player. And also, just to make things very clear, my schedule going into 2015 will be anime review on Monday, Yu-Gi-Oh! Arc 5 update on Wednesday or middle of the week or something like that, and movie review on Friday, which hopefully should stay balanced. Of course, schedules change, and my schedule never makes any sense, but that's how I'm going to try and work it. Now, on to the actual Arc 5 itself, and I'm going to make something very clear. This one is more of just overall sum up of what I've missed and what I had to binge watch over this past week since I got the computer back. And let me tell you, these are some complicated opinions, so sit back, this is going to be a little complicated. So first up, let's talk about the good, because there is a lot of great stuff in this series. Thing one I love, the plot. And when I mean that, I mean the overall main arcing story. Some of the littler stuff I'll get into, but overall, the main thing I love about this series is just how big it feels. This Yu-Gi-Oh! Feels the biggest out of any of them, and what's great about is that we introduced this right off the bat. With Zale and 5Ds, it sort of felt like the same problem, to where it always started off very small, with 5Ds moving very fast and Zale moving a bit slower, and it ultimately both wound up with the same issue of beginnings in this first half and second half not feeling very cohesive. Here, because we introduced such a huge plot point, this concept of like other dimensions and for the dimensions being ruled by the different types of summoning, we're able to bypass a lot of it to where it can do anything now. Anything can happen in this, and I will not be shocked. I'll just get more excited. And one of the ways that is shown perfectly is with Little Trunks, aka Sora. Look, we all knew going into this that he would probably turn out to be associated with the main plot in some way. Rather good guy or bad guy. And to be perfectly honest, I'm so glad he's a villain. That whole Destoid Chimera whatever thing was fucking amazing. And why was it amazing? Just because it made perfect sense. But that wasn't enough for Yu-Gi-Oh! It had to go the extra mile. It had to use shadows to give him all those creepy faces. The Destroys had to get creepier with each summoning. You had the little kids scared of him. It was so awesome. And it's so perfect because it teases with your expectations. You're expecting him to be something important. You're expecting him to go somewhere like, and I think I said this in one of the updates, I thought he was going to turn out to be Reiji's little brother or something. I am so glad it's this. When I first saw on Yu-Gi-Oh! Wiki this idea of like 4 dimensions, I thought, that's kind of cheesy. And it is, but again, we established from the beginning that this is what's going on, and we embrace it full-heartedly. That's what makes Yu-Gi-Oh! Work. And the thing is that it's just so perfect because it kind of does what X-Men Days of Future Past did, where it basically just writes away any plot hole or issue by just saying, oh, it's just dimensional bullshit. And it works perfectly. I also love the fact that, you know, we also explain a fairly logical way for why there's multiple Yu-Yas. It's just that it's different Yu-Yas for different dimensions, and I'll go with that. You know, believe it or not, I can go with a lot of different things, just so long as you take the time for it to make sense. And they did, and that's what I sort of liked. I really liked just that episode where we just sat down and explained things. Where we did allow for things to make sense, and we let Yuya and Yuzu just take a minute and let it all sink in. That's very rare in most anime and even American TV shows. It's because they're so afraid to just let it sit down and talk about it because they're afraid you'll just start noticing plot holes. But Yu-Gi-Oh! Doesn't care. They know they have a great story here, and they're willing to take that risk. And the thing is, on top of that, that scene where they're talking to each other is just amazing for the fact that that's what it is. It's two kids coming to terms with what has happened to them, what's going on in their lives, and how much bigger than them it is. You feel the weight of what they're talking about because it reminds you that they're just kids. These are kids in this very dark, disturbing situation, and it's only getting creepier and creepier. Which brings me on to a reason why it's probably a good thing in the long run I didn't do weekly updates, and I'm stuck doing this because everything with Masumi and all the other LDS kids, at first I got really worried. I mean, I was loving the whole she's on the hunt to find the person who attacked her mentor. I love the whole thing with Shun and Yuto and all that. That's amazing. But what I really loved was that duel where the three of them fought Shun, and you just saw how perfectly well executed they showed. Again, albeit with very strict circumstances, but how amazing their decks were able to work and how vastly they were taken down. That was not only kick-ass, but what got me worried was when we then find out from Reiji that, oh, we erased their memories. For those of you who don't know, I hate the cliche of just, oh, you know something and we want you gone, your memories are erased. And I hate it. I can't stand it. Because to me, the idea of having your memories taken away is the scariest thing in the world. The idea that someone could reach into your head and take the things that help make you you and practically turn you into a different person, to me, is so scary. And I hate when shows do it because they're never doing it because of that. It's never about this is scary. It's just about getting characters out of the way. It's about making them irrelevant by just ditching everything about them. And again, these are not overly relevant characters. They'll probably disappear when the arc ends, and I'm okay with that. But the thing is that, god damn it, did they just make these three so fun to watch. But, and again, I'm pretty certain if I did do these weekly, I would have spent an entire video just complaining about how, oh, Yu-Gi-Oh's cheapening things, they're gonna just ditch them and they'll be gone, and their memories are changed, and everything we watched was just bullshit. No. No, no, no. It is a plot point. That is the best part about it. They're using it. It means something. This whole idea of what is LDS, how are they able to do this, what's the plan here, what's the ultimate goal, what is Reiji after? Using the memory thing and using characters who you know you're not going to use for other purposes than just to advance other plot points is genius writing. It's keeping the characters relevant and using them to forward the story, and just instead of using them as cheap characters of the day like something Pokemon or Buddy Fight does, anything like that. It's using them to your advantage to do what needs to get done. And that's what's so amazing about it. With each new episode, the plot gets thicker and deeper, and they add more elements, and they use the horror of that concept that Reiji is doing this. Yuzu is still my favorite character just because I love what they're putting her through, and I love the way she reacts to it, and the whole thing with that character and a female Yu-Gi-Oh character finally just being something, I don't know, relevant. But the thing is that my close second is Reiji. He's not a hero. No one get that idea. He is doing bad things. It is wrong to take people's memories and manipulate people the way he does, but that's so amazing about it. He doesn't give a flying fuck. He does what he wants because he has an ultimate goal. Maybe it'll be the right thing, maybe it'll be the wrong thing, but it's so amazing to watch. We're running out of time here, and again, not a lot of bad stuff. For those of you who are wondering why I chose Zale in this on my top 10 list for best anime, is because there isn't an ending yet, and at that point, the show really hadn't sold me. But these past few episodes have done it, man. This anime is kick fucking ass. But just quickly to touch upon the stuff I still don't like. I still don't like Yugioh. He still doesn't have a personality, and he's still coming from the same realms as characters like Kazuto from Sword Art Online or Eren from Attack on Titan, where he's a plot element. He may be the main character in the way they market the show, but he's mostly just there for things to happen around him and because of him. Nothing he does feels that overly important. He still doesn't have much of a personality, and he still feels very deadpan generic, for Yu-Gi-Oh! At least. I don't hate him, and between those other two characters, between the three of these guys, he's the one I like the most. And I am really anxious to see what happens with this whole berserk mode and all that stuff. But the thing is, when it comes down to it, he is just a plot element. Now, again, he's a cog in a bigger machine, and I'm fine with that, but again, Yuma was just so good. And to those of you who don't like Yuma, let me remind you something. He was a 13-year-old boy who acted like a 13-year-old boy. One of my biggest problems with Yugioh is we were in exposition land the whole time with him. We never saw his personality play out. We just saw him acting like a goofball, and then people saying, oh, no, that's just a mask. I want to see that be the mask. I don't want exposition. Ask yourselves, with Yuma and his personality, were you on board with it because people told you he was arrogant, or that he was rambunctious, or because we got to see it in the first episode because we focused on him? We're not focused on Yugioh. It's not his story. He's a main focus, but if it was Yuzu who was the flat-out protagonist, which is what it feels like, it would be no different. And apart from that, I still don't really like Gogen Zaka. I don't see a point for that character. I don't like the filler. Every time this show slows down to do filler stuff, I get bored as hell, just because they're making the plot so goddamn good. Again, still like Sawatari, he's fine, but I wish he had a bigger role, though they'll probably do like what they did with Ryoga, where his role will get bigger as we go on. But apart from that, I really like Arc 5. It's a lot of fun, the plot is very good, it knows how to get intense when it needs to, and we have a plot that is thickening at a very good, consistent rate, and the series is just really kick-ass. And yeah, that's kind of all I got to say. Again, these will be weekly, and I'll do recaps, and I'll talk about the TCG more, and I'm just going to keep getting excited. Because I am done with letting Yu-Gi-Oh! Troll me. I am done thinking that the series is cheapened or is selling out. This anime is amazing, everyone should watch it, and we'll keep going. And what were your thoughts on Arc 5 up until this point? Comment below, let me know. And as always, click to like and click to subscribe, because Yu-Gi-Oh! Is awesome.